What's up, guys? This is going to be a short video. I'm going to do a couple of these probably today, just talking about some stuff. First off, congrats to Pitt for finally getting the monkey off the back and making it to finals. I remember in 2010 was kind of like the first kind of big season for them, and they were playing Carleton in the other semis while we were playing Cornell, and had a really close game, ended up losing. And I kind of remember from them, they had already won their pool. They had a game just like us against, we were playing Santa Barbara. I don't know who they were playing in pool play. And it didn't matter. If they won or lost that pool play game, they would still be the 1 seed in their pool. We tanked the game on purpose, saved some legs for us. And I know Pitt, I think, tried to win that game and had their starters and stuff like that in that game. And I think that ended up kind of hurting them later on in the tournament, especially in that close game against Carleton. They've obviously, I think they tanked the game yesterday. I don't know if they won or lost their last game, but I know it was very close. I'm sure they probably learned that lesson and tanked it. And definitely showed in this game. They went down, I think, 8-3 at half and ended up going on a 9-2 run or something crazy to end up winning the game. Big play by Thorne towards the end of the game. So you could definitely see they had a lot of legs left in the tank and were able to pull it out. So big congrats to them. And that kind of moves on to my point about Thorne. I wasn't really giving him that much credit early on in the season when people were talking about how good he was and stuff like that. I think he's a good player. I just didn't really see him until basically I didn't really see him make that move until this game. You go down 8-3, you're the leader of the team, you're the best player on your team. It's real easy for you just to get discouraged and, everyone, end up losing 15-5, 15-6. He didn't do that. He fought back. He put his team on his back a little bit, and he ended up winning the game. And so big props out to him. And that kind of talks about the Callahan. Real quick, basically, people have a lot, and I think the big issue with the Callahan is the fact that there's so many different people having so many different opinions on it. Some people have the opinion that it should go to the best player, like literally just the best player. If there was a draft, who would you pick number 1 on your team? Boom, that guy should win the Callahan, which is kind of like the MVP in the NFL. Not the NFL, the NBA. LeBron James is arguably the best player. I know Kobe's up there too, but LeBron James is the best player. He won the MVP. Then there's people out there that say the Callahan should go to the best player on the best team. For example, in 2008, Wisconsin, super dominant, just crazy dominant. Dan Hyman might have not even been the best player on his team. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but I'm saying that team had a lot of really, really great players, and it would be difficult to pick out who the best player on that team. I know when we played him, he definitely had a big, big role in that game, but they also had a lot of other players really doing a lot of work. So Wisconsin had a great season. He's the leader of that team. He's the best player on that team. He wins the Callahan. And then there's times where it goes to a team that wasn't really anything, and all of a sudden they get on the map because of this one guy playing really, really good. That's evident to Tim Garrett in 2006, which, in my opinion, he was the best player in that year. But Florida wasn't anything. 2006 all of a sudden comes around. We lose one game. We win a national championship. Tim Garrett's the best player on that team. He wins it. 2008. No, was it 8? Or was it 7? I think it was 2007. Kirshner from Arizona. Arizona, nobody. They end up beating us, upsetting us at Vegas. Huge upset. Kirshner makes a crazy layout grab on double game point to end up winning the game. The video goes out. Everyone starts talking about it. They have a decent season. We end up playing them at nationals and end up crushing them at nationals. But the voting, is already gone. And he kind of got the hype up from Arizona going from nowhere. Boom, he wins the Callahan. So you've got these 3 different types of things. Sometimes it's voted for the actual best player. Sometimes it's voted for the best player on the best team. And then sometimes it's voted for the best player on a team that wasn't really anything, all of a sudden they're now a powerhouse. So that's an issue because you have all these different people voting on different things. The other issue is who. So for the people that don't know, the Callahan is voted on players in College Ultimate. So if you play on a B team that doesn't ever travel, that doesn't ever play any big tournaments, you have a vote. You literally could be voting and never have seen any of these guys play. Now with Next Gen, I think they do a good job, or they've done a good job of kind of broadcasting and showing more Ultimate, so people are a little more well aware. But it is very still heavy on the fact that a lot of people have no idea who they're really voting on. A lot of times they're just voting on what they hear. They're voting on a highlight video that they saw. They're voting on what they saw on RSD. They're not really actually voting on what they personally think. They're voting on what all these other sources are telling them. If that's the case, let's just have those sources vote. That's what I think should happen. I think the people that should vote should come from the people that are actually traveling. So, the people that are actually at these tournaments and stuff, if there's or actually watching all these games, rather than all the players. I know USA Ultimate wants to make everyone happy and stuff like that, and I know it wants to be an award that, like I like the Heisman a lot because the Heisman is voted on by past. I think it's voted on. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's voted. Every past Heisman winner has a vote. I know that for a fact. And then I think there's also a board of like reporters and writers and stuff like that also vote. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think that's how it is. I like how that's done. That they keep it in the fact that the players that have actually won the Heisman get to think. But the thing about football, you can see the games. You can watch every big game and know what the deal is. Right now, what the tournament we're watching right now is going to be the most visible tournament. College Nationals is the most visible tournament, and the voting is already done. So I think that's an issue for our sport. I think if we had more footage out there about every tournament, every game that these big teams are playing, kind of like what Next Gen's doing, a little more though, because they're only showing like one game at a time. They're doing the best they can, but they're missing a lot of stuff. I think then, you actually have information that you can go and vote on. Anyway, so I think that's what should happen. Also, I think it should go to the best player. I know Spear is in there too. Some people vote for that. Some people don't really care. To me, I think it should be like any other sport where the MVP goes to the best player. That's who it is, the best player. Yeah, that's what I think. So, and my post, I made a post on Twitter and Facebook saying that if you can't lead your team to the semifinals at College Nationals, you should not win the Callahan. And the reason why I post that, and a lot of people are starting to say, so if LeBron James if he didn't win that last series, he shouldn't have won the MVP. It's different. Basketball is completely different for a couple reasons. One being the fact that I think the level of play at the NBA, if you take like LeBron, I mean, there's so many great players in the NBA. You got LeBron, you got Dirk, you got Kobe, you got Wade, you got Rose, Durant, Westbrook. I mean, literally every team for the most part, besides a couple like the Pacers. I mean, the Pacers have a good team, but Granger's a good player, but he's not like a superstar, all-star. What I'm trying to say is there's so many good players in the NBA that, of course, sure, LeBron is the best, but is LeBron really that much better than a Kevin Durant, than a Dirk, than a Kobe, than a Derrick Rose? Is he just way above? I don't think so. And in College Ultimate, there's a huge difference in the top players and then everyone else. There's a big gap. Even in the top 5 finalists in the Callahan a lot of years, you'll look at that there are some people that are above the rest of just like the top 2 guys are just a lot better than 3, 4, and 5. And so when it's like that, when there's that much difference in the top and in the other people in College Ultimate, I know it's a team sport. Trust me, I know that. Without without a good team around you, there's no way you can win. But what I'm saying is, one player, if he's above and arrest so many other players, he makes his teammates better. He makes everyone around him better. He turns people into a great player when they might have not been that good. So when we're talking about college, because it's different in club too. Club's the same way as NBA. You've got superstars on pretty much all the big teams. So one guy isn't going to win it for you or isn't going to lead you to semis. In college, one guy can do that. One guy can take over a game with his throws. You don't have to be, I mean, if you're making crazy break mark, crazy huck throws, you don't have to have awesome players making those catches. Anyone can make those catches if you're making ridiculous throws. And so what I'm trying to say basically is this. College Ultimate, the Callahan, I think, should be voted on by the best player in the league. Not anything else. That's what I'd like to see. The best player in the league. I think we should have more footage. I think Next Gen's doing a great job, but I think USA Ultimate should continue to pump more money into that so we can get more cameras, more games going, and I think also there should be like a board that votes on it, and also past Callahan winners can also vote on it. I think that would be good, and I think that one player, can actually lead his team to semis at nationals. I believe that. And I'm going to go this year, after watching most of the games and knowing a lot of the top players, I'm going to have to say, and this is the thing, is I'm looking too. I'm taking into account what's going on right now. I know a lot of people, I know Nick Lance will probably win the Callahan because he posted a highlight video that's gotten 20,000 views. I know a bunch of people have watched it in college, and a bunch of people know him from the Next Gen Tour and all that stuff. And so he's probably going to win the Callahan. But I'm looking at the results here, and his team first off doesn't win. I'm not just calling him out, but because I'm going to talk about other people. But his team goes 1-3 in pool play, dropping games to, let's see, they lost to Oregon, they lost to Minnesota, and they also lost to Ohio. So dropping games to those teams, then they drop down and they're playing, they end up playing, did they end up having a pool play game? Yeah, they did. They had a pre-quarters game. So they end up going and playing against Central Florida, a team from their region, and they end up losing that 15-8. So then they drop down and they end up playing Colorado in the 9th place bracket, and they lose 15-6. And they're probably going to end up either 11th place or 13th. And I'm looking at that and I'm saying that's not really that great. I don't think Nick Lance is happy with that performance. You'd go to a team like Pitt, who's got Alex Thorne on there, and they ended up losing. They ended up lost that last game 12-13, so I'm sure they tanked it. Alex Thorne has led his team to the finals. They broke through finally. They finally got over the Carleton curse, and they're in the finals. That's a great performance. Carleton College, they don't ever nominate anyone, but for them it would probably be Simon Montague. He had a great semis performance in the first half. He played really well. The coverage actually broke up, so I don't really know how Pitt got back into the game. I don't know if he made mistakes or not. But from what I saw, that when the coverage was going, he played great, and he got his team to semifinals berth. Then you got Wisconsin. I think this year they're more of they're kind of as the past, where they have a lot of good players this year. It's really hard to pick one out. I know they picked David Wiseman, and he's played well in the games I've watched. And they're in a semifinals. You got Oregon. Oregon ended up picking, I think, one of their older guys on their team, a senior or so, even though I think Dylan Freechild is probably really the anchor behind that team. But, they're in the semis as well. So they're all getting it done. They're all doing work. I know other people that were in discussion. I know Tufts had a player. They made it to quarters. and almost ended up beating a Wisconsin team 12-10. And then you've got, I think Luther has Eric Johnson on the team. They go 2-2 in pool play. They end up playing Colorado. They end up beating Colorado, which some would say is an upset, and end up losing to Oregon 15-10. So I think that performance is pretty good as well. Like I said, I'd really like to see them kind of make a push to get to semis. But you know, that kind of just shows me that I think really Alex Thorne's the guy that should win. I don't think he's going to, unfortunately. But in the past, I mean, a lot of people haven't won that I thought should have won. I think Kurt should have won at least one of those years in 07 and 08, and he didn't. So it happens, but here's the thing that I'm going to say also. The Callahan, it's a great award to win. Sure, I would have loved to win it, but I would not have traded my national championship for the Callahan. So that, at the end of the day, is the most important thing. So I'm talking to you, Alex Thorne. You're not going to win the Callahan tonight. I'm sorry that you don't. You should, but go out tomorrow, dominate tomorrow, and win. And I promise you, it's going to be a lot more satisfying when you win that national championship and you don't win that Callahan. National championship means everything. So go out there and win it. I wish you guys the best of luck. It was awesome watching you guys come back. So I hated on you early in the season. That's fine, because I wanted to see you guys prove me wrong, and you did. So now I can say that I'm rooting for Pitt in this tournament because I really want to see them do well. And so, yeah, that's all I have to say. Let me know in the comments. I talked a lot today again. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the Callahan, what you think about who should win, what you think about my ridiculous comments that I make. And, yeah, I'm going to be real. I'm going to say what I think. And I expect you guys to do the same. So I appreciate it. I'll see you guys. I might do another post later. By the way, I know nothing about women's ultimate. So that's why I made the post saying that I need a girlfriend, an ultimate player for a girlfriend, because I literally know nothing. I went 1-3. Oregon, you were the only one that did it for me. So I appreciate that. All right. I'll see you guys probably later. Peace. Man up.